What was supposed to be a routine celebrity visit has turned into an international incident that has left the entertainment world reeling and questioning the dangerous extremes of fan culture. Chinese drama superstars Xukai and Songyun found themselves at the center of an unprecedented security nightmare at Incheon International Airport that has sent shockwaves through both the Chinese and Korean entertainment industries. The incident, which unfolded like a scene from a disaster movie, began when thousands of Korean fans somehow obtained insider information about the actor's arrival time and gate number. What happened next was nothing short of catastrophic. A human tsunami of screaming fans that transformed South Korea's busiest airport into what witnesses described as complete pandemonium and a war zone of obsession. But how did two beloved actors become prisoners in their own success story? The answer lies in a perfect storm of social media hysteria, inadequate security planning, and the terrifying power of modern fan culture that has spiraled completely out of control. What started as an innocent promotional visit has now become a cautionary tale that exposes the shocking reality of what happens when celebrity worship crosses dangerous lines. The calm before the storm. A seemingly normal arrival turns deadly. Airport surveillance footage reveals that at exactly 2:47 p.m. local time, Xukai and Songyun's private jet touched down at Incheon International Airport. The actors, who had been invited to South Korea for a special screening of their latest collaboration, The Love Script, were expecting a modest welcome from local media and perhaps a handful of dedicated fans. Instead, they walked directly into what security experts are now calling the most dangerous celebrity mob incident in South Korean aviation history. The first sign of trouble came when airport staff noticed an unusual number of young people gathering in the international arrivals area as early as 10 a.m., nearly 5 hours before the scheduled landing. By noon, the crowd had swelled to an estimated 3,000 people, with many carrying homemade banners, professional camera equipment, and disturbing personal items including locks of their own hair intended as gifts. Airport management, caught completely off guard by the scale of the gathering, made their first critical mistake by failing to implement emergency crowd control measures. "I've worked at this airport for 15 years, and I've never seen anything like it," revealed Kim Jong-min, a senior baggage handler who witnessed the events unfold. These weren't normal fans. They were like people possessed. Some were crying, some were hyperventilating, and many were pushing elderly passengers and families with children just to get closer to where they thought the celebrities would appear. What makes this incident even more shocking is the revelation that the fan gathering was orchestrated through a sophisticated network of social media accounts and underground fan clubs that had been planning this surprise welcome for weeks. Investigators have discovered that detailed airport layouts, security camera blind spots, and even staff shift schedules had been shared among fan groups, suggesting a level of premeditation that borders on stalking. The situation escalated dramatically when someone in the crowd falsely announced that Xukai and Songyun were about to emerge from Gate 12. The resulting stampede injured 17 people, including a 67-year-old grandmother who was knocked unconscious and had to be rushed to the hospital with a suspected concussion. This grandmother's family is now pursuing legal action against both the airport and what they're calling the dangerous cult of celebrity worship. The moment everything went wrong. When dreams turned into nightmares at 3:15 p.m., when Xukai and Songyun finally appeared in the arrivals hall, the scene that greeted them was unlike anything they had ever experienced in their combined decades of celebrity. The crowd, which had grown to an estimated 5,000 people, erupted in what can only be described as primal screaming. The sound was so intense that it triggered car alarms in the airport parking garage 3 levels below. But this wasn't the typical excited welcome that celebrities usually receive. Multiple eyewitness accounts describe a scene of absolute terror as fans began climbing over barriers, pushing through security cordons, and literally throwing themselves at the actors. Some fans were so desperate to touch their idols that they suffered serious injuries, including broken bones and lacerations, but continued to pursue the celebrities even while bleeding. "It was like watching a horror movie," said Sarah Chun, an American tourist who was waiting for her connecting flight. "These people had completely lost their minds. I saw teenage girls fainting from exhaustion because they had been screaming for hours, But they wouldn't leave. I saw grown men crying and begging just to touch these actors' clothes. It was honestly the most disturbing display of human behavior I've ever witnessed. The actors themselves appeared visibly terrified as their small security detail was quickly overwhelmed. Video footage that has since gone viral shows Songyun with tears in her eyes, frantically looking for an escape route, while Xukai can be seen trying to shield her from the grabbing hands of fans who had broken through the security perimeter. The desperation in their faces tells a story that their glamorous public image never reveals, the dark side of fame that can quickly turn from adoration into imprisonment. Airport security logs show that within minutes of the actor's appearance, 17 separate incidents were reported, including attempted assault, theft of personal belongings, and what investigators are classifying as aggressive harassment with intent to harm. One fan was caught on security cameras trying to cut a piece of fabric from Xukai's jacket with a pair of scissors, while another attempted to forcibly kiss Songyun before being tackled by security personnel. The breaking point came when the crowd began to surge forward in waves, creating a crushing effect that put everyone in immediate physical danger. Airport emergency protocols were activated, but by then the situation had already spiraled beyond control. The actors found themselves trapped in a nightmare of their own success, unable to move forward or backward as thousands of obsessed fans pressed in from all sides. What happened next has become one of the most controversial decisions in recent South Korean airport security history. Faced with a crowd that was growing increasingly violent and unpredictable, Airport Security Chief Park Sung-ho made the unprecedented decision to place Xukai and Songyun in what he euphemistically called protective custody, but what many are now describing as outright detention. The actors were escorted to a secure holding area typically reserved for individuals suspected of immigration violations or security threats. For over 6 hours, these internationally beloved celebrities found themselves confined in a windowless room, while airport authorities struggled to disperse the mob of fans that refused to leave despite repeated announcements and police presence. The irony is devastating, explains Dr. Kim Min-young, a professor of crowd psychology at Seoul National University. These actors became prisoners of their own popularity. The very fans who claimed to love them created a situation so dangerous that the people they worship had to be locked away for their own protection. It's a perfect example of how obsessive fan culture can actually harm the celebrities they claim to support. During their detention, both actors were reportedly in a state of shock. Sources close to the situation reveal that Songyun suffered a panic attack and required medical attention, while Xukai spent hours pacing the small room, repeatedly asking when they would be allowed to leave. Neither actor had experienced anything approaching this level of fan hysteria in their home country, making the incident even more traumatic. The situation was complicated by the fact that many of the fans gathered outside had traveled from across South Korea, and even neighboring countries specifically to see the actors. Some had spent their life savings on transportation and accommodation, creating a sense of entitlement that made them resistant to police orders to disperse. Several fans chained themselves to airport railings, declaring they would not leave until they received personal acknowledgement from their idols. International media attention only made matters worse. News crews from across Asia descended on the airport, turning the already chaotic scene into a media circus that further inflamed the crowd. Live television coverage provided real-time updates on the actors' location within the airport, effectively making it impossible for security to safely relocate them without triggering another stampede. The detention lasted until 9:30 p.m., when specialized riot control units finally succeeded in clearing the terminal using tear gas and water cannons. Even then, hundreds of fans remained in the airport parking lot, camping overnight in the hope of catching a glimpse of the actors when they eventually emerged. The dedication was as admirable as it was deeply concerning the human cost. Beyond the headlines, while the international media focused on the spectacle of celebrity detention, the real human cost of this incident extends far beyond the inconvenience suffered by two famous actors.